right? So I think some of you guys know we have Heather on the call. There's Angela and Rosario actually work for the Training Fund in Massachusetts. We invited people because people are interested in hearing hearing from you about the vaccine. And I don't have a great introduction prepared for you, but Heather is working from out of in New York and downstate. So she is a great expertise she's bringing to this. I'll let you give some background if you want to, Heather, and take it away.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Heather Cayenne. I am the Assistant Director of Continuing Education for the Training and Employment Fund, as Consolo said, for downtown. Here at the Training and Employment Fund, we provide all our members, which include respiratory therapists, social workers, nurses, LPNs, pharmacists, CNAs. Who else did I forget? Advanced practitioner nurses as well, respiratory therapists. We provide them with their continuing education. So 6-7 times a year, we provide fund-sponsored seminars where they are about different topics based on what's going on in the trends of healthcare. And they also receive CEUs as well when taking our continuing education workshops. By trade, I am a registered nurse. Nursing is my love. Nursing education is even more of a love for me. I enjoy teaching nursing education, but I also enjoy putting curriculums together, especially with all the different new things that are happening in healthcare. It is very interesting to be a part of that and making curriculum and looking at curriculums that I feel would enhance the work skills of many of our members. I was asked today to speak to everyone in regards to what's going on with the vaccine. And I looked at a few things so, we can have a discussion. I'm open to any questions. I will try to answer your questions to the best of my ability. Any questions thus far? All right, so let's go to the next slide. So our objectives really, this is just a very short PowerPoint, just so that we can start to have some dialogue. We're going to look at why are vaccines and boosters important, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the booster updates, okay? What is the CDC recommending for this upcoming season, where they are already predicting that we're going to have a surge in COVID cases once again, as well as influenza. So how do we protect ourselves? So let's take a look at our immune system. Next slide, please. So just as a brief A&P, we know that the immune system protects us from diseases, infection, okay? What are some of the microorganisms? We know bacteria, as well as viruses and any other forms of germs, okay, can attack our immune system. The immune system gives our body immunity, which immunity means that a person has protection against these bacteria, these microorganisms, these things that can cause harm to us. So when we're looking at the immune system, we know we're looking at the antibodies, we're also looking at antigens, and we also depend on the lymphocytes, which are the white blood cells. So the antibodies is the system's normal way of defending against anything that's foreign to the body. Sometimes people that have immune-compromised systems also, they would have bacteria, which we know the body has natural bacteria, but because they're system is compromised, some of these bacteria are able to take over their body and cause them great injury as well. So we know that also when we're looking at our lymphocytes, we know that the lymphocytes is what does the fighting, our white blood cells, okay? It takes on these antigens, these different microorganisms, and tries very hard to protect us, all right? They try very hard to get rid of these unwanted microorganisms. So when we're looking at them, sometimes when we would see certain signs and symptoms if an infection is brewing. One of the first signs we may see is fever, okay? We would see fever, we would see increase in different vital signs. For example, we would see an increase sometimes if it's a respiratory infection, we would see an increase in their respiratory status. Sometimes to compromise everything, the fight, okay, we see increase in our heart rate, okay? Sometimes these are all the systems are all working together to try to fight off this infection. But in order sometimes for us to win this fight with an infection, we need some outside help. And this is where our vaccines come into play. This is where our, we would say, boosters help, okay? We understand that the one thing that I do remember, and just to give you a little brief insight, we were struck with COVID in 2020. It came to us like a whirlwind. And I've been teaching, but nowhere in our history books did it prepare us for COVID, okay? In our nursing books, we did not understand how to treat this particular infection. It was always something that it's nothing that's new, because if you really do your history on it, it was something that they were studying, I think, since in the time of, what's that president? Not Obama. Before Obama, it was Bush. This was something that he started. And the reason I kind of believe that, because that is not something very new, is to the mere fact that it's on Lysol cans and certain disinfectants you see help prevent against COVID. So to my dismay, it's really not something, virus that is very new. It is a strand of influenza, but with every strand comes a different microorganism. So this is what COVID really is. It's just a different strand of influenza. So we were taken by surprise, each and every one of us. I remember when we got the news that we would have to leave our offices and return work from home in order to safeguard everyone at that point in time. That was, for everybody, it was a difficult time trying to understand what was really going on, okay? And how we're going to be able to get this infection under control. In the part of everything that was going on, we were losing family members, friends, everybody's close to us, far from us, and we didn't understand what we were going through. Me, myself, I'm not afraid, but me, myself, lost my husband during COVID. He came home one day, just stated he wasn't feeling well, and it was, sometimes everybody gets a cold or a little touch of the flu at a certain time, and we just thought it was his normal touch of the flu at that time, but he progressed very rapidly, and he lost his fight. That was April of 2020. So that allowed me to try to understand what this disease process is and how we can help protect ourselves. Now, I think during the time, because we were in such a pandemonium and everyone, so much information was being tossed out at us at one time, it was very scary, okay? And it was like if they just opened a box and said, okay, here is this vaccine and everyone has to take it. But as I said before, this was something that was in the making for years. But it just took a pandemic to come about for now us to really understand and learn what it really is. So with that in mind, we had to come up with this vaccine and get people on board. And I must say I commend everybody here that is a part of this program, being a vaccine ambassador. It is something that I think that will be very, very helpful in order to get people on board and understanding the importance of what a vaccine can do. You can go to the next slide, please. So when we're looking at the COVID-19 boosters, the vaccine, who are we targeting? We're targeting our elderly, we're targeting our children, and we're targeting those that are immune compromised, okay? Because once again, as we said in previous slide, once your immune system is depressed, okay, which we know the elderly, as you get older, your immune system slows down as well as for children, the very young, and immunocompromised, okay? And antigens, antibodies, sometimes the lymphocytes are not able to fight off very strongly these microorganisms. So we got the COVID vaccine. So now the question is, which is a very common question, why do I need the booster? Okay, so we know boosters are very important in protecting yourself. Okay, it's exactly what it's called, a booster. It's giving the immune system a boost. Besides what you would do healthy-wise, different types of foods that you would eat to help boost up your immune system as well as help you maintain it, okay? I think when the vaccine came out as well as that year, okay, in order to bring things under control, they had to come out with a vaccine, something to help. But I do feel that I think along the lines there was so much information that we weren't given the opportunity to process it. One thing that I think that got people very confused is that they were under the impression that once they took the COVID vaccine, they would not get COVID. And I think that was a big misconception. When you take a vaccine or you take a booster, it does not mean you will not get the virus. It just means that you will not get the severity of the disease origin, okay? CDC has updated the COVID vaccine boosters, and now they're available for infants and children as young as 5 years old, and to the very elderly. They have now, as we know, over the summer months, have approved that it's okay for the smaller population, the school-age children now, to get the vaccines. The updated boosters are specifically designed to protect us against COVID-19, and that's what it does. It gives us a boost, our system a boost, and allows the system to build up antibodies against the virus that will cause us harm. When we look at it now, we are still seeing people that are coming down with COVID, even though they have taken both series of the vaccine. But to what they are looking at is the decrease in hospitalization. That means the severity of the disease is not that great as when we first recognized this disease in 2020. And that is very, very important. It does not prevent you from getting COVID. It just decreases your severity. And this is why we would want to encourage our older population to get their vaccines and make certain that they're up to date. Children, there's still a lot of parents that are very skeptical in regards to giving their children this new vaccine. When they ask questions, as we will go all over, there's the CDC website where you can get all the information on the exact type, a lot of the side effects. Should you take it? Shouldn't you take it? I still think it's a personal decision if people want to take the booster as well as take the vaccine. Next slide, please. So we know we have right now 4 recommended COVID boosters. We have the Pfizer, we have Moderna, we have the Novavax, and we have the Johnson & Johnson. These vaccines, as they said, are all given within the United States and help to protect against COVID-19. But what makes this so different from the first booster, okay? Because remember, this is the second booster that has came out. And for some reason, it looks that COVID-19 will follow the same requirements as influenza, okay? Why do we say that? Because every time there's a new strand of the infection, which causes you to decreases, okay, your ability to fight, your immune system to fight, okay, because you don't have enough antibodies to fight because it's a whole different strand. So before we had the monovalent, now we're looking at the bivalent. So this one covers both the first virus, and now it covers the second one, the Omicron, okay, which we know, which they think we're going to have a large number of surge once again. This information about the booster for Omicron is, I would say it is as of September, these updates came out, okay? So we want to look at the new one, which is the bivalent booster shot that is now, they say, very effective for both viruses. We said the previous virus was a monovalent because it was only designed to combat just one virus, okay? So now we're getting boosted again, and this one is to help us with combating and fighting against 2 different strands of COVID-19. Okay, next slide. So just like our first set of vaccines, there were some side effects, okay? Some people had them a little bit more severe than others. With the booster, some people have reported no symptoms, very mild. Does anybody think they can take a crack at why the side effects would be less?
Because you have the immune system built up, so
Yes.
the resistance
Correct,
is
Angela. Yes, you have more antibodies, so your body is not fighting as much against the booster shot. Okay, so we still monitor and we still tell people they may have a slight fever. Some people have reported headaches, some fatigue, some tiredness. Very common though is pain at the injection site. So we usually tell people right after you take your COVID vaccine, take that the rest of the day, relax, try to get some rest. If you feel a little feverish, take 2 Tylenol. But the good thing about it is that the symptoms, they subside very, very quickly. Okay? Very quickly. You take it today, and by the end of the day, sometime during the day you may feel a little achy, and by the end of the day you feel just fine. Okay? Yeah. So with that in mind, also, same thing for our children. Okay, same thing. If they were not the first initial vaccine, okay, they may be a little achy and cranky because they are building up their immune system to this new foreign body. All right, so we should not see drastic side effects. Just like if now also if you do contract COVID and you're fully boosted, usually what we're seeing is very, very mild symptoms, which I think is a good thing. Okay, very, very mild symptoms. If we notice that there is any adverse reactions, we say go to your healthcare provider as soon as you notice anything that is drastically out of the norm, confusion, disorientation, any type of excessive rash that may come out, generalized rash throughout the body. This may be a need for concern. But as I said, we tend not to see such drastic adverse reactions thus far. I know at one point I did not. There were so many different things going on social media, and one that stood out to me very much was there was a group of people that were saying that the COVID vaccine has a certain magnetic effect on your body. It's a magnet, and they took the injection, and where their injection site is, they held a piece of metal, and they said it stuck to them. I was like, what? A vaccine does this? So when I took my vaccine, I'm not gonna lie, I took something and I was trying to see for my own self. Do I have metal in my body? What are they talking about? But I did not get that effect, so I don't know where that came from. But it is something that it stood out to me when we were all in the midst of the should we take it, shouldn't we take it during the pandemic. I took my vaccine as right after it came out. Okay. I took it because my mom is elderly. I'm very close to my mom, and I don't want to bring anything to her. So I was very, very much concerned because I go to her house. I'm there all the time. So I felt it was my duty to make certain that I was vaccinated so that I wouldn't bring any harm to my mother or anyone else around me. Next slide, please. As vaccine ambassadors, I know you would be asked some questions, okay? One of the questions is, do I need a COVID booster? Yes, okay. We know that recent data suggests that the COVID-19 boosters are effective at preventing us from becoming very ill. Since we have started vaccinating, started boosting, we have seen a decline in hospitalization, in people dying, all right? So I would answer yes to Do I need a COVID-19 booster? I believe I need a booster. I feel very much protected. Even now with the relaxing the mask mandate, because I feel that my immune system is strong enough with me having both my COVID doses as well as my boosters. I'm not afraid to take down my mask or not to have a mask on at this point. And vaccines has always been a part of nursing as far as I can remember, because when influenza came out, we could not come to work unless we had proof that we took influenza. But I remember being a staff nurse, there would be like sometimes the end of the day that you would get a call from occupational health saying that you need to come to occupational health because there was an exposure to meningitis. You were exposed to hepatitis. Now, this is sometimes the end of the day. Sometimes this is 2-3 days later. These patients are gone, okay, and now they're calling us to tell us that we were exposed. So with that notion, I always felt it was very, very important, okay, for me to maintain my vaccinations, make certain that I was fully vaccinated, because I didn't want to bring anything home to my family. So my vaccine was very, very important, and it was part of us. I remember when hepatitis came out. That was a three series vaccines, and we didn't want to take that vaccine because everybody was all over, oh, you're going to get hepatitis, you're going to die, but we had to take it. And to this day, we understand why we needed to take it. We needed to build up immunity to this disease entity that we were inundated with at one point. Right here in New York, everybody was getting hepatitis. So just like the vaccine, are the boosters working? I think the boosters are working. We can say, yes, the boosters are working because we're seeing less hospitalization. We're seeing less people getting sick, gravely ill right now, okay? Am I considered fully vaccinated if I don't get boosters? Yes. You're considered fully vaccinated. Boosters are not mandatory. They're just encouraged, okay? You don't have to take a booster, but for the sake of you being considered fully vaccinated, yes, once you have completed the vaccine series of taking both doses, you're considered, your definition is that you are fully vaccinated. Does the definition of up-to-date include boosters? Yes, it does. That's the difference. It does include if you have taken boosters. So we are now up to our second booster. If you only took the first booster, you're not considered up to date. Up to date means that you have taken all recommended doses of the boosters. How long does the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, the booster last? That's what we're not sure of, and that's why they have come up with a booster, because they are not able yet to determine how long the vaccine lasts. Thus far, what they have seen is that in the past year, okay, that the antibodies have diminished a great deal, which weaken your chances of fighting off the virus. So until they have a definite, which there are studies in progress right now where they're looking at the longevity of how long this vaccine will last, how long it will stay in our system. But to be on the safe side, they are recommending, as I said, they're recommending boosters just to make certain that you have that little extra bit of protection that may be needed. Next slide. Any questions, concerns that you would like to ask me?
Could I ask a question, please, Heather?
Sure.
Okay. Just thinking because you do what you do and have such a strong background. The other night I watched 60 Minutes, which I have a tendency to do on Sundays. And they were going around the world into places like, bat caves and things in different countries. And what they're actually trying to look for is what is going to be the next big pandemic. What type of virus is going to be the next big pandemic? And the woman was so strong in her belief when she said it's when there will be, because there will be a next. I'm thinking with all that we're doing now, what can the average person do, in totality to try to keep their own immune systems from being so susceptible for everything that might be coming down the road?
Okay. Well, what we're teaching in wellness now, okay, is protecting your immune system, making certain that you eat right, you get enough rest. Your diet is very, very important as well. The foods that we're consuming, we're looking for foods that are high in vitamin C, okay, which is a good factor to build up your immune system. Exercise, maintaining your health is very, very important. They looked at different. I look at myself. As I said, my husband passed, and he was not. He was not very appreciative of modern medicine, as I would say, when it comes to typical man don't want to go to the doctor, don't feel that they need a vaccine. And I took care of him to the bitter end because I refused to leave him. Okay? And I remember he was boiling with fever. And everybody was calling, you don't need to stay there. You don't need to stay there. You need to get out. Maybe just take him to the hospital. And he didn't want to go to the hospital. So I didn't take him. I left. I did the best I can do with him at home. But to this day, I never contracted COVID. Now, my understanding of why is because, as I said, COVID is a different form of influenza. Since I started practicing nursing, every year I have been vaccinated for influenza. So I think somewhere down the line, I have immunity, okay, that protected me against being attacked by the virus, okay? But everyone's immune system is different. Everyone has different remedies. A lot of people now are turning more to natural remedies. You're seeing a lot of that now. Drinking lemon because viruses cannot live in an acidic environment. So people are doing more home remedies. Some of these things, these concoctions look like I wouldn't even be able to get them to my lips, much more to get them down my throat. But some people really, really believe that these things help them. But I don't know. I know modern. I mean, when after then my mom every week she had this concoction, lemons with garlic and turmeric, and she used to make this big bottle. And did you drink it? And I tried very hard to try to drink it down, but it was very difficult. But she believed in it, and sometimes they say what the mind believes, the body will achieve. So it's sometimes mind over matter. Okay, so she believed in it. She also is fully vaccinated and also contracted COVID. Okay, but she had no symptoms. She was, as I think, maybe just a little stuffy nose. But I have seen where she had other friends that said they were not going to take the vaccine and who got gravely ill. Some of them didn't die, but they were gravely ill. So I think right now health, wellness is very, very important. Um, Taking care of your body, listening to your body, exercising. Now they're only recommending 20 minutes a day of exercise, brisk walk, okay? What do I usually instruct to do? If you're taking the bus, if you're taking the train, get off 2 stops before and walk home, okay? If it's not late at night. I don't recommend anybody walking late at night anymore, but just, watch your calorie intake, okay? We don't want excessive weight gain. Excessive weight gain means excessive fat. Excessive fat is not good for the body, okay? So being conscious of your eating habits, but just wellness on the whole. Good sleep, rest, because when the body is tired, okay, it can't fight. It does not fight. And this is where you become susceptible to a lot of other things.
Thank you. Listening to that, that's very, very interesting. It's the whole 9 yards, as they say, what you've just discussed, and that will take some behavioral therapy in some cases. For me,
Yeah.
and so.
I don't know if I have a 19-year-old daughter, and she was when she was born, she was a big baby. And throughout the years, she went through her growth spurts, and as well as eating everything under the sun that she's not supposed to eat as a adolescent, as a teenage child. So she packed on some pounds. And in my family, diabetes, heart disease is very, very prevalent. So even before her dad passed, he would constantly be on her about what she was eating. Sometimes I thought he was a little bit too harsh, because you don't want to make them insecure and conscious of their body and think that something is wrong with them. But she did gain a reputable amount of weight. And after he passed, she decided she's not eating meat. It's been now 2 years, and just with diet and exercise, she lost 100 pounds, which put her 100. Yeah, she was a big girl. If you see her now, you would think that she had some kind of surgery or weight loss, but she didn't. She didn't have no surgery. And because she's not eating meat, to that I don't cook it. So we have learned to eat plant-based foods right now. The plant-based burgers, they have the plant-based sausage. So I've been learning how to cook meals for her. We changed our pasta from regular pasta to whole grain, sometimes zucchini pasta. So we have learned different ways to eat. Every so often we'll go out and have a treat, maybe some French fries, but the biggest thing I think for us is eating at home and preparing our own meals. And when we're looking at it right now, that is one of the biggest factors for us, because we're working, we're busy, we're running, we're doing this, we're doing that, and we don't take the time to eat properly. And that has a lot to do with a lot of the ailments that we are seeing right now. We're seeing a younger population being diagnosed with diabetes. We had a fair, and they were screening for diabetes, and there were a lot of adolescents there that were in the pre-diabetic phase already. Okay, so this is need for concern, because once again, chronic diseases are areas that break down your immune system as well. So you want to make certain that you get those chronic conditions, or as I say, prevent them. Prevent them. Don't wait till you have them to want to treat them. Let's think about it now. Let's get them active. Let's get them aware of what they can do. And especially with teaching diabetics, you don't want to take away, because we have to be culturally sensitive when we are teaching, especially meal prep, okay? And but you have to know your target audience. For example, there's a high population of Asians that are diabetics, but their diet, they eat a lot of rice. They eat a lot of rice. So you have to now teach diet, as well as teach how to, what do we call it again? Meal exchanges, okay? How to balance your diet. So if you had bread for breakfast, you don't need to have that much starch for lunch. And we try to encourage that they have the least amount of starch for dinner, okay? We teach what foods are high, what foods keep the glycemic index up, okay? And which ones will help level it down, okay? So these are all important when you're talking about the immune system, when you're talking about wellness, okay? What are we going to eat? I always remember Michelle Obama saying that, there's nothing wrong, and I agree, there's nothing wrong with having a burger every so often, but you can't eat burger and french fries every day. And this is very difficult when you're dealing with teenage children, adolescents. They don't want to eat healthy food. They want to eat all of the things that are not good. My daughter, she was, what was her favorite? Popeyes. Popeyes. My daughter, if she could eat Popeyes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to the point that I never forget one day she said she wasn't feeling well, but she told him at school, don't call my mother and my father because they're at work. Call my grandmother. She'll come and get me. So my mom called me and she said, I'm going to pick up Roro. I said, pick her up. I said, why? Oh, they called and said she's not feeling well. So I said, okay. All right, when you get her, call me. So she called me. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong? Why is she coming home? Oh, she said she's not feeling well. But you know what? Don't worry about it. We're going to Popeyes. She's not feeling well, but she's going to Popeyes? Are you kidding me? So, and now she won't go to Popeyes if her life depended on it. So it's just to tell you, with education, with learning comes change. And, I was just happy it came on her own,
Yes.
It came on her own. And I think I would say that her dad's death did impact her in a way that she came up with a way that she wanted to make serious changes for herself. And we seem to be, doing pretty well with it. So, wellness is the key to fighting any immune disorder.
Thank you very much.
I have a question, unless anyone else has a question on the call, because I actually work more closely with others, so I could ask her later. but while we're here, because it's relevant for this, it's just that I feel like, growing up, I did associate, you said something really interesting earlier about vaccine doesn't mean you're immune to it. You could get it. And there was a mixed message when this came out that you couldn't get COVID once you get vaccinated. And it's funny because I haven't really thought about that too much, but I did in my head think, I'm vaccinated against polio, I'm vaccinated against XYZ when I was a little kid. Only like tetanus, I need to get that if I step on a nail because it's only good for 7 years. Almost like really black and white, as if that's completely true. And then this happened, and the messaging, we live in a day and age where like marketing's really good. They think a lot about it. So I would have thought that they made it clear from the start that this is going to lessen the symptoms like they do now. Now it's like, hey, you get this, you're not going to end up you're probably not going to end up in the hospital. I get it now. I got it. I got COVID. It was like a cold, I know other people get it more severely, so I'm kind of looking that way. But I'm just thinking, because we have the vaccine ambassadors on the call, and they'll be watching this recording going forward, to think about, like Ruth had said, there's more of these coming. So even if this one, we have a surge of the winter and it dies down, hopefully, it's gone forever. But there will be something next, and there is this huge resistance in this country, as you know, historically as well. But then now, especially with the way the media is and people get in their little bubbles of misinformation. So, how can they work to make a clear message and to kind of explain this to folks?
Okay, that is, and I get that question a lot. And what I try to tell people also is that we have to just go with facts and be able to explain to the best of our ability. We can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do or they don't take the time to understand. And I think, with you look back in the days when there were outbreaks like polio and the measles and the mumps. These were all pandemic issues as well. But what is the difference between them then and us today? Okay? And the big difference today is the social media context of this whole thing. People have so many different other influences that are able to cloud their mind. I have friends and family that no matter what you tell them, they will not take this vaccine because they feel it's a conspiracy. They want to kill off males. They want to kill the population. That was another thing that came out of it too. Bill Gates sponsored this whole COVID vaccine to kill off people, to decrease the population. So I tend to try my best to stay away, but if there is someone that is headstrong that they don't want to know about the vaccine, I don't want to get confrontational with them. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and it's their right. So all I can do is bring the information, but I can say if you're going to speak to somebody that is hesitant or is asking you questions about the vaccine, make certain that you're giving them correct answers, because that's what they're looking for, okay? To see that you yourself, if you understand, okay, exactly what the vaccine does and why we should have the vaccine.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other questions? No. Angela? Rashida or Nikki? I saw Nikki must have technical issues, dropped off and came back on. So. No. All right. Well, if things come up, let us know and we'll try to answer them. And like I said, I'm in touch with Heather, or we'll do our best. But
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak with your group. I commend everyone that has been a part of this program. I think here at 1199, we do great work. We're trying to keep our members informed about what the best trends are in healthcare. It is an important area, especially now with them having a vaccine out for children. Okay, there's been a lot of pushback on that, even from my end. I have a 3-year-old grandson, but he is home. He doesn't go to daycare. Between his mom and his dad, they switch their work schedules to accommodate him because they don't want to. They are both fully vaccinated with boosters, but they are very concerned about giving it to him. Okay? And I have to respect their wishes. Okay, I understand that. I think he will be fine, but they have their own reasons, and I could only respect what they how they want to take care of their child. But they did make certain that before I was coming there that I was fully vaccinated. If not, I couldn't go to the house. So,
Mhm.
it is. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Um, could I ask something that is a societal question, but it runs
Sure.
completely in the exact same path to wellness? And that is the social disparities. And because of the pandemic, it's left a lot of people really vulnerable. And so, it's troubling because in addition to what we do out in the field, we ask people how has the pandemic affected you in your life? And many, many people say, that they don't have enough money to buy food. There's a host. I don't want to go into that because I know it's already late. But, how, how is it that we could present it in such a way when you're saying, well, this is what you should eat? And, you're already saying we're between a rock and a hard place with any teenager on the face of the planet. So, but literally, in terms of trying to get the underserved better, in better form and not as immunocompromised, this is a major issue. And this is something that it's not, let's put it this way, I'll put it in my own vernacular, and that is it's not cool to just blow someone off. And it's a real problem. So,
Well, we know that there are social disparities, but I think, in my opinion, the key to to the social disparities is education. We have to be able to educate people, and as I said, we can't wait till they're hit with disease entities to start educating. We need to get in the schools. We need to get in the communities. We need to get in every month, every other month, twice a year. Go to the church. Do exactly what we're doing now. Have a health seminar. Talk to people about how to prevent these different disease entities. With education, I feel that we can change a lot of the disparities because people have a better understanding. And like my mom always said, when you know better, you do better. And you see it. There are some communities now that are building up where you're not, even though they have bodegas, I've went in bodegas now and seen fresh fruit. They have a counter with fresh fruit, okay? People are eating fast food, they're eating out, but they're looking at the menu, okay? So even with our adolescents, our teenagers, it's a matter of just educating. And they also will bring it to you that, you know what, oh, my grandma had diabetes and she lost 3 of her toes. I don't want that to happen to me. So what am I supposed to do? So they understand, and we have to just continue to educate them to help with the disparities. A lot of the communities have increased. I was driving around someplace and I seen this one community. They were fighting, okay, because they did not have a grocery store in their community, and they eventually have a grocery store that sells fresh fruits and all natural stuff that they need. So I do feel, even I go to the park to walk, and some mornings the park is filled. Okay, so I think with the wellness Education, I think we are doing a little better. Okay, we are getting, I mean, that social disparity is always going to be there because we have some that don't have, and then we have another bunch that have too much. So then there's some that fall in the middle. Okay, but I think that the biggest key to helping everyone is education. How do we prevent? How can we live better? And that starts with preventative care.
Thank you. It's
You're
very
welcome.
enlightening. I appreciate that
You're
very much.
very, very welcome. Good luck, everyone. If there's no more questions for me, I will leave your meeting now and go to my next one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Good luck,
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Mhm.